CrossroadsIRL.com.
If there is someone who has seen the horrors of socialism up close within the Democratic Party, is in the House, and it's the Honorable Congresswoman Maxine Waters. And I would love for you to support this resolution specifically, because Madam Waters, for decades, you traveled to Cuba dozens of times to visit Fidel Castro personally, whom you consider your friend. Congresswoman Waters was in Havana, and she saw the destruction of biblical proportions that Castro caused on that island, who at the time in 1960 had the highest per capita income in the Western Hemisphere.
Really?
At that time, Madam Waters knew that thousands and thousands of Cubans were escaping on a raft, exposing their lives and their children to be eaten by the sharks.
Now, it's fascinating to watch how socialism and communism emerges. It never emerges in countries that are struggling economically. It never does. It waits until capitalism creates success and abundance, and then it shows up to feign, oh, look, there's a bunch of people who don't earn as much as these other people. The solution to making sure people earn equally is communism or socialism. It's really all about envy. And as long as you can gin up the sentiment of envy, where people who don't have as much hate those who do have, you know, the politics of the country is ripe for socialism or communism to, to take over.
She knew that Afro-Cubans were being beaten on the streets of Havana, discriminated against by Fidel Castro, Mr. Speaker. And for that reason, I am bringing up all these facts, because Madam Waters knew that the Cuban jails were full of political prisoners, and the Cubans did not have the same privileges that we are having right now to speak freely. At that time, Madam Waters...
Maxine Waters is melting down when confronted with dozens of private visits to Fidel Castro, and of course she called him a friend. And now she's trying to censor the accusation, keeping us from hearing everything.
Never raised her voice to denounce the horrors of socialism, Mr. Speaker. For that reason, I am asking Madam Waters.
For what purpose the lady from California seeks recognition?
I move to take her words down.
Why? Why?
Order. The House will be in order. The lady from California, for what purpose do you rise?
I rise to take down her words.
Why? Why?
Lady from Florida, please be seated.
What on earth? Why?
Ask the clerk to please report the words.
Democrats, the party of free speech, okay? She's censoring this statement, which of course she didn't say is a lie. But clearly, this actually happened. Now, imagine a Republican visiting Pinochet and calling him a friend, okay? And you know what would happen, okay? Mainstream media would burn the entire country down, okay? They were like, oh, look at these people. How dare they represent us, okay? They don't deserve to be in Congress and so on. Now, here's a question. Let me know in the chat or in the comment section. Should any elected official with ties to a communist dictator be removed from office? What do you think? All right. And we have to have these, we have to be intellectually honest. Many times people just throw out an answer that is convenient for their side or the side that they support. Should anyone, any elected official with ties to a communist dictator be removed from office? Because we know what happens under those circumstances. Now, AOC, in this next video, admitted out loud, at least people framed it as such, that Democrats need to hurt Americans more to force them to fold on policy. Now, we're going to watch this video and you tell me what you think she meant by that.
is that the lesson that they're learning is that Democrats are weak, and that next time we just need to hurt working people and working Americans more to get them to fold. And I don't want them to learn that lesson.
All right, so she's talking about the recent government shutdown, and that what Republicans learned is that Democrats are weak, and that she now says we need to hurt the American people in order to get them to fold. Now, grammar and language is a very funny thing. Now, what I think was going on is she was framing it as saying, here's what the Republicans were doing. They believe Democrats are weak, and we, Republicans, should hurt the American people so that the Democrats will go, oh, we'll fold. Now, if the Republicans hadn't raised 13 motions to vote that the shutdowns should end, and 13 times the Democrats rejected or voted no, that the government should stay closed, I would believe her. If the Democrats were the ones to say, look, the American people are hurting, let's vote, and then let's figure out a way to get our policies passed, and the Republicans were the ones who were voting no, I would believe her. So the narrative to the Democrat, or for the Democrats, or that they're trying to push, doesn't make any sense. Now, some people are out there sharing the video saying they're saying the quiet part out loud. No, it's simply the same Democrat playbook. All right. So if you've seen this video going around trying to make it look like the Democrats were the ones saying they want to hurt the American people, that's not what this video is saying, but the way they voted said that. All right. So let's just keep it straight. Let's not do what dishonest people do, trying to claim that people said something that they weren't actually saying. So you see how I cleaned up the narrative, or cleaned up the video, and said this is what she was saying. However, here's what they did. And if they did that, then I think their actions were very clearly evident that they didn't care that American people were suffering. They didn't even want to vote to release funds for the military and for federal workers to get paid. They wanted people to suffer. They kept using the word leverage, 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 because as long as the American people were suffering, they could say, hey, look, the Republicans are the ones doing it. Now, question, okay, and let me know this in the chat. Do Democrats actually want Americans to suffer or score in order to score political wins? Okay, do Democrats want Americans to suffer in order to score political wins? Let me know in the chat. I know what I think. All right, let me know what you think in the chat.